the man of God described purpose in a powerful way that I would like to share it. He said that purpose is that one thing for which you were created, such that no matter whatsoever you succeed in and fail in that particular thing, you failed in everything. So purpose is that very reason why you exist. It was my mother of blessed memory that said, when the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse becomes inevitable. So why do we have so much abuse in the society? Why are we not seeing any difference in the society? It is because people don't know their purpose. You don't know your purpose. So if we are really going to make a difference, we must understand purpose. Hello dear friend, and welcome to yet another exciting episode of Making a Difference with Pastor Benjamin Ede. This is a space for building faith, strengthening hope, and pointing you to Jesus. If you are yet to subscribe, go ahead and click the subscribe button and turn on your post notifications so you'll be the first to know whenever I drop another divinely inspired content. It also goes a long way to encourage myself and my team who work tirelessly to give you the best and nothing but the best. Alright, let's cut to the chase. In our last episode, we talked about having the proper understanding of time. How that if you're going to change the narrative, if you're going to turn things around in your world, in your generation, wherever you find yourself, that you must have a proper understanding of time. Why? It's simple. Because the entirety of your life is directly proportional to the summation of what you spent a huge chunk of your time doing here on earth. So if at all you're going to change the narrative, you must have a proper understanding of time. So in this episode, we're going to be talking about another powerful concept, which is the concept of purpose. The concept of purpose. When it comes to making a difference, purpose is the most important aspect of making a difference. And one may be asking, but why didn't we start with purpose? And here's the reason why. Identity answers the question of who am I, right? Whereas purpose answers the question of what am I here for? So who am I determines what I am here for. So my identity determines the reason why I exist. And also, why did we talk about the concept of time? Once you understand the importance of time, understand how time affects the entirety of your life, you know that it drives you towards living a purposeful life once you discover your purpose. Alright? So what is purpose very quickly? Purpose is the very reason for your existence. Purpose is the mind of the Creator before bringing you into existence. Purpose is that problem for which you were created to solve. Purpose is that solution for which you were created to bring in. Purpose is the very reason why you were made. Purpose is that very assignment for which you were sent to accomplish. Purpose is very powerful. Purpose is that one thing that if you ever get it right, regardless of whatsoever you feel that you didn't get right, you will still have that sense of fulfillment. The man of God described purpose in a powerful way that I would like to share it. He said that purpose is that one thing for which you were created, such that no matter whatsoever you succeed in and fail in that particular thing, you failed in everything you've ever done. You failed in your life. You failed in all you've ever done. So purpose is that very reason why you were created. Purpose is that very reason why you exist. Purpose is the reason why the Creator brought you into existence. It was my mother of blessed memory that said, when the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse becomes inevitable. So why do we have so much abuse in the society? Why are we not seeing any difference in the society? It is because people don't know their purpose. You don't know your purpose. So if we are really going to make a difference, we must understand purpose. We must understand purpose. So very quickly, how do I discover my purpose? I'm going to give us 3 ways to discovering your purpose. Number one is you have to go to the creator. You have to go to the creator. Now, I don't just go and start asking this mobile phone, why do you exist? What can you solve? What and what and what? I just simply go to the manufacturer. I just simply go to the producer. They can just hand their manual to me, and few minutes I'll just know why this phone exists. So you don't ask the product, why do you exist? But you ask the manufacturer, why did you bring this product into existence? So if you're going to discover your purpose, if you're going to know why you are here on earth, number one, you must run to the creator. You know, my dear man of God usually says something. He will always say that whosoever creates dictates. Whosoever creates dictates. So if God made you and I, God must dictate why we are here. And not just what the society suggests, not just what our friends are doing, not just what we think that is the most lucrative thing to do on earth. No. But it is what the Creator had in mind before bringing you into existence. So the number one thing you do is you run to the Creator. And secondly, identify your natural gifts and abilities. Identify your natural gifts and abilities. This is really powerful. You have to start intentionally looking around you and discover the gifts that you have. What are those things you could easily do freely without stress? What are those things that burn up in your heart? What are your passions? Look around you and start discovering your gifts. Now, it's important I say this. Your gift must not necessarily be your purpose, right? So take for instance, when I look at this mobile phone, it has a charging port, it has some features. So let's take the features as though they were the gifts and abilities. So it has a charging port, it has a mic, it has a speaker, it has camera, it has power button. Now, I am wrong if I start saying that, oh, this power button is the purpose of this phone. This charging port is the purpose of this phone. This camera is the purpose of this phone. No. All of these gifts, they come together to serve a bigger purpose. They come together to achieve something bigger, which is the goal of communication. Communication. So when you know how to sing, it does not necessarily mean that your purpose is singing. When you know how to talk, it does not necessarily mean that you are called to start talking. But when you look around you, put up your gifts together, structure them together, and it will definitely point you towards the bigger goal for which you were created. And then number 3, finally, submit to process. Submit yourself to process. This is the hardest thing my generation will ever do. We find it difficult to submit ourselves to the process. But you must learn how to allow yourself to go through that process. It is in that process that your gifts are refined. Something wonderful happens inside of you in submitting yourself to the process. That is where you learn all you have to learn. That is where you build the capacity you have to build. That is when you go through what I will call the wilderness. And one way or the other, you just find out that you build the necessary capacity needed. Submit yourself to the process. For David submitted himself to the process. He submitted himself to the process. While he was in the wilderness, he built the necessary strength needed. He built the resume needed. He built the capacity needed. So when he came before Saul, he said, while I was there serving, I killed the bear, I killed the lion. So allow yourself to pass through the season of preparation and process. Many of us, we want to make a difference. We want to change the political sector, but we've not even served anywhere. So in your mind, you have a picture of, hey, I'm going to be the president and change things around. No, start from being your class rep. Start from being a leader in your local assembly. Start from being a leader in the community. Start gradually and you build the necessary capacity, the necessary skills needed to even scale it up. So I believe this blessed you. Remember what was said, you must understand your purpose. Why am I here? You start asking yourself that question. And to discover your purpose, number one, you have to run to the Creator. And number two, look at your natural gifts and abilities. And number three, submit yourself to process. And I believe with these few points I'm giving you, you will definitely discover your purpose and start making a difference in your generation. I will catch up with you some other time. Actually, drop your comments, drop whatever you learned on the comment section. I'll be waiting to read your comments and to reply to your comments. God bless you.